Can you hear me?
Yes, I can see you. Hi, Dr. Sridhar. How are you?
Good, good. I'm doing good. Thank
Good.
you. How are you doing?
I'm fine. And you? Um
Good, good.
are you at the university right now?
No, today I'm working from home,
All right.
so I'm at home.
Very well. Very well. So, do you have anything to share on the screen or we just talk? It's up to you.
Um, if you want me to share something, I'm happy to share. But I think we can start having a chart, and then if you want me to show any details related to our test beds or our research projects or websites, so I'm happy
Sure.
to show that, right?
Sure. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Let's start.
Yes,
Um,
please.
Dr. Sridhar, I met in Kuwait at a CERC conference 2 or 3 weeks ago, something like that. And Dr. Sridhar is a lecturer in cyber physical system security in computer science at the University of Bristol. He's a core member of the Bristol Cyber Security Group. Uh, so let's start, Doctor. Um,
Yes, please.
First, we'll talk about the Bristol Cyber Security Group Testbed.
Okay.
Okay. Um, let's see. I think it has three physical processes, right? Or just one?
Okay. So
Okay.
we have actually a number of physical processes.
Mm.
So one of the physical process, initially we started with water treatment plant, which has operational water treatment plant with a number of sensors and actuators. So together with water purification filters. So when the water goes through that filter, it purifies the water, which includes some sand purification, uh, and then yeah. So this is a three-stage distributed water treatment plant.
Mhm.
So which is controlled by only one PLC. This is one of the test bed we have. We started initially. Then we started manufacturing unit. So manufacturing unit, again, we have the physical process in a distributed manner. So we have four-stage distributed and which are controlled by four different PLCs. So these are two, and we have number of conveyor belts. Actually, these are small test beds, I would say, compared to water and manufacturing unit. And these small test beds, which are tabletop test beds, you can keep on a table, one table, office table, and try to conduct the experiments. And which these conveyor belts can be connected to the PLC and an HMI, and we can see everything. Uh, yeah,
Okay.
physical process on HMI. Yeah,
Cool.
these are the three. And apart from that, we have a real-time simulator for electric power systems.
Mhm.
So we can simulate number of energy systems uh, coming from power generation, power transmission, uh, photovoltaic, solar panels. We can also simulate some behaviors in the maritime ship, like how the power systems are integrated into maritime domain and oil and gas systems as well. So this is also helpful to connect to the PLC, where we can form the hardware in the loop test beds, and we can conduct some experiments. Yeah. So I would say we have number of test beds, uh, water, manufacturing, conveyor belts, and a number of hardware in the loop test beds. And we also have a agri-tech test bed. So agri-tech is like, okay, so nowadays people who are farming cows farming for milk production. So there are a lot of automation in place. So for example, cows have something to their neck and which act as a sensor, and they are collecting this information automatically to analyze and respond with their devices. Even milking is automated. So we have one of the first agri-tech test bed in the UK. Yeah, we also exploited, our group members also exploited some vulnerabilities in some of the components.
Nice. I mean, the paper you gave it to me, it mentioned only 3 test beds. That's why when I started, I asked you about them. They were the water treatment, and the other one is the model factory and the building management system. They were mentioned in the paper.
Yes. So
Yeah.
we have a building management system as well where our lab is located. So we get the sensor values like what is the humidity and how much is the temperature, and then we try to optimize and send it to our SOC room. We have a big SOC room where we collect the information from all these test beds.
Nice, nice. Okay, let's ask some questions about the water plant test bed. When
Yes,
did it
please.
start?
So it started in 2015.
Okay.
Actually, in UK, our group moved from Lancaster, so
Mhm.
University of Lancaster. So before that, so we used to have a small test bed in the Lancaster, but when the group, entire cyber security group, moved from Lancaster to Bristol, we started the bigger test bed
Okay.
for experimentation within the industrial control system security. So you can say it started in 2015, but the work and the experience is came from earlier, much earlier days.
And Lancaster.
Yes.
Okay. And did it cost a lot of money to build this test bed?
I mean, in general, compared to simulations, it required some money.
Mhm.
But I would say it is mandatory to give real-time experience to
Mhm.
the students as well as researchers. So if we conduct a simulation in a MATLAB or any other open source
Mhm.
tools, we can only learn and we can only teach a certain extent to the students.
Oh.
And having a real test beds, the PLCs, HMIs, the devices, and the students and researchers able to spend some time to play around these protocols, I think that experience is much valuable
Yeah.
than the test bed, because once we get the test bed, we purchase once, but we have students every year. So undergrads, master students, PhD students use it for a number of years. I think the value is much more.
Cool. I mean, did you build the test bed at once, or did it take steps and some time to build some parts of the test bed, especially
Okay.
the water treatment one?
Okay. So actually, the water treatment facility at the moment we have is from the Gantt. So actually, we planned, I know our group members, and this was built before my arrival to the group, but I
Mhm.
know how it started and how. So the planning is done within the group, and then there was an external company where we can order and we can get the physical process and the PLCs so that we integrate here in the lab. So
Mhm.
but we ordered all entire physical process at a time.
Mhm. At it. Okay. So you mentioned it's being used by students and researchers. Do you also offer training using your test bed to other entities, organizations?
Some Okay, so we have MSc infrastructure security program, so where we train students in that. But apart from that, so what we are doing at the moment is like offering module based course. Like if someone who's working in industry who is interested in ICS security, so they can register to through our MSc Pro unit, but
Mhm.
then they don't need to register all modules. They can only register ICS security and train in that. And we are also interested to pursue the way you mentioned, like we are trying to build relationship with industries to train them directly, even without MSc infrastructure security. We are trying to do that. So yeah, the initiatives are on the way. I think we will achieve that soon.
Cool. Is there a course or a subject that you teach students for ICS cybersecurity at your university?
Yes. Yes, actually, I teach two courses. So the
Mhm.
first one, I started teaching resilient infrastructure unit, so
Mhm.
which is a PhD level module for where I need to teach interdisciplinary cohort. So students come from different disciplines to study industrial control system security, and I'm the unit director. So where I teach as well as conduct the lab experimentation for entire semester. So students able to conduct experiments on PLCs, HMIs, and hardware in the loop systems to investigate what kind of attacks possible on these systems, and they can also conduct DOS attacks, man in the middle attacks, and spoofing attacks on different protocols. Not only the commercial PLCs, so they can also use open PLC using a Raspberry Pi, which is connected to HMI and so on. So we have extensive PhD module titled Resilient Infrastructure Module. This is part of our CDT. In UK, CDTs are 4 years PhD course, which is Center for Doctoral Training, exclusively on large scale infrastructure security. So in UK, we are the only university or research group hosting a PhD program in large scale infrastructure security PhD program. So I would say, so I'm leading the unit in this program. And
Wow.
apart from this PhD program and resilient infrastructure unit, so I also teach industrial control system security module for MSc infrastructure security program. So there is a master's program as well. So where I am the unit director and I teach uh, technical course, but the students who come to this MSc are majority of them are from computer science or cybersecurity background. So I think we deal with more technical content than PhD, because PhD students coming from different disciplines, we need to accommodate, mathematics, sociology, psychology aspects of the people. But in MSc, we deal in technical depth. So I'm essentially teaching two modules in industrial control system security, one for masters and one for PhD.
Impressive. Nice. Okay. I mean, have you tested other vendors' devices at your lab for like vulnerabilities, 0 days, um, test solutions, etc.? Do you deal with vendors?
Yes, actually, our lab published some vulnerabilities. You can see some vulnerabilities related to Siemens HMI screen. So our group members found first time, and our group members also communicated to the uh, vendors, and after that, after some time, it is public now, and our group name is, our group members names are there on the public domain. And some of the vulnerabilities we exploited in a different other systems, I think they are not public yet, because still we have some time to publish before in front of the everybody. So we are still having some discussions with the proprietary vendors, OEMs. So yeah, so our group is interested and working in exploiting vulnerabilities, 0 day vulnerabilities. So our group is also working on providing security to the devices in different levels. So actually, we are a quite diverse group. So if you look at our cybersecurity group, so we are 10 members who everybody working in different areas of cybersecurity, and among three of us, mostly into industrial control system security, but we have other colleagues who have like diverse backgrounds. For example, so one of our colleague looks at how developers develop the code so that it can leak any vulnerabilities, developer aspects in the cybersecurity. And one of our other colleague looks at human aspects and how the behavioral changes influences the cybersecurity in the organization. So we have there are different teams who run. I mean, there are other lecturers and other associate professors and professors in the group. We are like a collectively cybersecurity group. But my focus and there are two more other lecturers focus on industrial control system security.
Nice. Okay. So, I mean, let's talk about the components of your test bed.
Yeah.
Do you use open source simulations? What kind of tools do you use, or do you buy commercial tools, softwares?
Okay, so for the test bed, it's a proprietary, right? So everything is proprietary because we are using Siemens PLCs and the HMI is also proprietary, so they're proprietary. But as you mentioned, so we also use open source simulations. For example, we use OpenPLC to simulate the PLC, and we connect that to different other simulations. One of my PhD student was working on digital twins for digital twins in the context of interconnected critical infrastructure. So where he is looking at cascading effects of a cyber attack across the system and across different interconnected systems as well. So for this, we were using different Python tools. There are tools available to capture the system behavior and so on. And we also use MATLAB to simulate. As I mentioned, we have the Typhoon real-time simulator to simulate energy systems. I mean, different energy systems, oil and gas and power systems, substations, and EV charging capabilities. So we are simulating in the Typhoon within the group.
Nice.
So we have many of us also use security tools, different security tools. So, all of that, sometimes we use open source, sometimes we use proprietary, like any other. So it's a mix, I would say.
So let me ask you a question. When the students apply cybersecurity on the physical processes, do they have direct contact with the devices, or because I've read in the paper that you avoid destroying the processes, especially if the student or the user is not familiar with or careful. So how do you interact with the processes using cybersecurity or hacking tools?
Okay. So initially we train students on a teaching box. So our teaching box contains one PLC, one HMI, which is integrated into a box, and we provide this teaching box to the student, and student can install softwares like Factory IO to simulate the physical process in their laptop, and then familiarize with the ICS environment, how they can simulate the physical process, how they can launch an attack on a particular sensor or actuator. So we want students to familiarize with because not everybody comes with the ICS background. So we want them to familiarize with the ICS domain and how we use Purdue layer to segregate the devices, and how we use DMZ for isolation and so on. So we have this setup. So in the master's program, so we have 30 students, and for every pair of students we give one of these box. So they keep it for entire semester and they play with it. By the end of the semester, so they are ready to work in a larger test bed That's when they interact with the water system, water test beds, as well as manufacturing unit and building management unit.
Okay. So you start gradually for each
Yes.
student, yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Do you have like data sets for your test bed? Are they public or
Okay. So
or do you
I
sell
think it's
data?
not public, but one can request.
Hmm.
So, for example, recently we conducted CTF event in the group. So, capture the flag event on a water test bed. So, this is UK's, at least we believe that this is UK's first capture the flag event in the UK,
When was
where
that?
attackers, it was in September.
This year.
Yeah, this
Oh,
year.
yeah.
So, so so this is where attackers try to attack different parts of the PLCs and different physical processes in the lab, which we have, and
Mm.
then they try to get some points. Whoever gets more points, of course, they will win at the end.
Mm.
And we also have some prizes who are winning to encourage them to do more. And so we got a very nice feedback from all the participants, and so we are interested to organize this event next year and further years. And we also have the support from the environment to do this.
Because I was gonna ask you for the second part of this podcast about CTFs, but you mentioned it before me because you mentioned that you work with this the CTF in Singapore. You were part of a team.
Yes, actually, yeah,
So did
I,
you
I
did you
should share
migrate the
that.
idea from there to UK or?
Yes, I should say yes, because I used to stay in Singapore. I did my PhD, and before joining as a lecturer, I was working in Singapore for 6 years.
Interesting.
And so the lab where I was working was first lab in the world to conduct this kind of experiment, CTF event and in industrial systems. So I mean, we similar to Cyber Security Group in Bristol, we have a water treatment facility in Singapore as well, where we expose that to different attackers across the globe. Before the pandemic, all the participating teams used to visit in person the water treatment facility to attack the plant. But given COVID changed everybody's life, and now uh, team learned how to organize this online. And actually, that is one side. It is also plus point, because online, this, if you ask me, this year 40 teams participated, but it is not possible to accommodate 40 teams in person,
Yeah.
because it's expensive to travel Singapore and come back. It used to be like maximum 10 teams, but now there are many teams participating. And the good thing about this CTF event in Singapore is it is adopted by NATO, CCDCOE, with so where they're exercising with all the countries, NATO, around 30 countries, and
Yeah.
all the police force and the military force. And the lab where I was is helping NATO to organize this event. Till
I,
now, even Singapore is not part of the NATO. So they are the one who are helping to organize this event for last 4 years in the NATO countries.
I noticed when I saw the pictures at the Singapore University that there were many pictures of military and Ministry of Defense. So, like you said, it's NATO. So that
Yeah.
makes sense. Yeah. So I mean, I stopped you from talking about the CTF in UK. So could you tell me more about it, please? How many teams
Yes.
participated, and are they
Okay.
universities or what are they? The participants.
Okay. So first year, three teams participated. So three large teams, and two of them are from university, and one of them are independent government research organization.
Hmm.
Okay, so total, this is the third one is like a industry come research institute, from government, and 3 teams participated. And each team contains 4 members.
Online, or
Okay.
they came to the
No,
lab
in person.
in
In
person?
person. Because so we started by keeping in the mind that, okay, so we should engage people in person,
Mhm.
to get the real impression. Even, if we are doing online, people cannot differentiate whether it is a simulation or a
Yeah,
real plant or device.
exactly.
So, I think, we met in Kuwait in person, and that experience is valuable.
Of
And
course.
we are able to see what kind of initiatives are going on, and how the push for ICS security, or in general cyber security. I mean, so if we attend the event event online, so we cannot visualize and we cannot realize that. But I think we organized in-person event, and it was for 2 days. So first day it started at 9 a.m. and until 6 or 5:30, and then second day again it resumed in the morning until 4 p.m. So it's a 2 days.
So 12 hours
And
every day, almost 12 hours a day,
no, I think it's around 8 hours, I would
8
say.
hours. Mm.
Morning, because night time we were not allowing them, unlike online CTF events, because these are physical labs.
Mm.
So even organizing team also want to rest, and
Of
even they also need to rest. So we organized this way for this year, and we generated a lot of data, a lot of information. We will publish it soon online. We haven't published online because we want to share with the some of the agencies who are looking after, some government agencies and other agencies who are interested in this data. And so once we share our insights from this event to everybody, then after that we will share data to the public.
So could you describe the CTF, please? I mean, how do they start the attack? Do they start from the enterprise network, or could you explain how the CTF looks like,
Okay. So this
please?
this CTF is Jeopardy style. So we prepared some challenges, right?
Mhm.
So we prepared challenges like 1 to 8. Okay. So each challenge associated with a specific uh, IT and OT together. So
Mm.
every challenge has an OT part integrated into this. For example, so one of our researcher, PhD student, created honeypots, and he was keeping honeypots within the network of OT systems, and asking participating teams, to identify which is a honeypot and which is a real device.
Mm. Nice.
So, if someone is not familiarized with the OT and OT devices and their characteristics, it is not possible to identify what is an honeypot and what is a real device. So,
Mhm.
out of 3 teams, 2 teams were able to find out uh, which component is the honeypot and how they identified. So, because in the challenge, it is not just that they are providing the answer, right? They have to explain how they think, the process, how
The
they
process.
realize that. Yes, because without that, if somebody guess something, and we do not want that. We want a process learning curve, how you learned it, what you observed it. So, so the interesting thing about this challenge is, so 2 teams found the honeypot in a different way,
Oh.
which we were not expecting. So initially, I think I cannot reveal exactly how they found before releasing the data publicly, but we have some ways how to how to identify the honeypot. But these 2 teams found the honeypot in a different way, which we were not thinking about. That is very interesting for us, because as an organizer, we want to learn something, and this is a good learning curve for us.
Of course.
Yeah,
Interesting.
and it's interesting.
So the competition was like you give them scenarios like honeypots and other
Yeah. So one of the scenario is
yeah.
honeypot. The other scenario, so PLC logic analyzer. So we have some challenges hidden inside the PLC code, which in the
Okay.
structure text and ladder logic, and the participants need to identify based on analyzing the structure test and ladder logic.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes, not everybody familiarized with the PLC coding practices like structure text and ladder logic. Those
Of
who are
course.
coming from cybersecurity and IT. So we gave some challenges so that they need to go and read some of the PLC programming in
Mm.
order to answer these challenges or in order to identify the CTF flag.
Mm-hmm. So the idea is, or the winner is the team who gets more flags, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
Mm.
So not only that,
Mm.
because some challenges are, we have like different levels of challenges.
All
Some
right.
challenges are easy, some challenges are hard, some challenges are extremely hard.
Okay.
Okay. So if somebody is able to, solve all easy challenges, they get low score.
Okay.
So the level of the difficulty is related to the, the marks each
Mm.
participant gets.
I get it. So is there a scenario for lateral movement or network
Yes,
scenario
yes,
where they have to reach the OT network? Did they give them this scenario?
yes. So, for example, one of the scenario involves asset discovery and lateral movement.
Mm-hmm.
So they need to identify a specific component within the OT network, and it is only possible when they move from one subnet to another subnet, IT network to
Yeah.
OT network, and then they search within the OT network. So this includes what you are mentioning, a lateral movement,
Mm-hmm.
as well as asset discovery, how they can discover different OT devices within this environment.
Nice. And I mean, did the team at university did they write this CTF scenarios like, or did
I
you
mean,
get?
our team.
Yeah, I mean for the CTF questions or challenges, did
Okay,
the who wrote these challenges or
okay.
yeah?
So as I told you, so we are a bigger group. So
Mm-hmm.
our cybersecurity group, we are 10 academics as lecturers and professors, and we have 50 people who are doing PhD with us.
Wow.
550. And we also have a good number of postdoctoral researchers. So total, I would say, we have around 70 people in the group.
From different
Okay.
places, not just your university.
No, 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 no. In my university,
70
we
people in
have
your university.
in
Wow.
cybersecurity. So
Uh-huh.
our group, cybersecurity group,
The Bristol
is
Cyber Security Group.
Bristol Cyber Security Group,
Mm-hmm.
headed by a Professor Awais Rashid. He heads our group.
Okay.
But all these members are in different areas of cybersecurity. For
All right.
example, I am in ICS security. Someone else is, behavioral aspects of security. And someone else is network security.
But they all work
But
at Bristol, right?
yes,
Yeah. Got it.
yes.
Got it.
And we have PhD students and postdoctoral fellows, and myself and our
Mhm.
colleagues who are into ICS security. We were working for more than a month to develop these challenges.
Wow. Interesting.
Yeah. So our PhD students were, some of them were doing PhD in forensics, some of them doing PhD in honeypots in
Mhm.
ICS, some of them doing PhD in asset discovery, some of them doing PhD in cascading effects and lateral
Wow.
movement.
That's
So each one
yeah.
who is
That's
doing
rich.
PhD in that
Mm.
area, they created a challenge around that topic.
Were the challenges inspired by real world scenarios or some of them were proof of concept or what were they? Like from your opinion?
Okay. So the current this year challenges, okay, we are not mapping to any real world challenges. I think because we know how to simulate the real world challenges, but so we are trying, because the people who are participating, they are also familiarized with the real world challenges. So real world attacks, because they are open, publicly available, right?
Yeah, they are.
Yeah. So we do not want them to have some knowledge before exploring our challenge.
So nobody cheat.
Yeah. So, I mean, even though they cheat, they still need to work a bit in order to get the flag. But so we are creating challenges in different levels of difficulty, and which are not public, which are not known to them before.
Yep. So they have to
so they have to start from scratch, basic, from the beginning, and they learn everything on the way to solve the challenge.
Wow. Interesting. So will you do this challenge every year, next year?
Yes. So we have started planning already, and we also secured funding to do this challenge next year. And next year we are interested to do in a large scale, because as I told you, this year, we started doing this for the first time within the UK on industrial control systems. And next year we want to grow it. And this is we also have some learning curve, how we organize this smoothly while hosting number of people. So we have now some experience in handling it in person, and we will make it in a bigger scale next year.
So do you think making it online, like on an online platform like HackerOne, and you can make then competition for bigger number of participants, do you think this could be possible? Like Hack the Box, you connect it to
your.
Do you think it's similar to that? What do you think?
Yes, actually it is possible, but at the moment, our goal is to train the people within the UK in ICS security domain. So if you look at the recent survey or recent reports, it shows that how many number of people lacking in ICS security domain.
Exactly.
And for us as a research group within the cyber security group in the Bristol, and we are also part of the NCSC ACECSR, which is a center of excellence in cyber security research within the UK. So one of our goal is to develop the ecosystem around us and the people around us. Nice. who are able to work in ICS security. So by involving people in person, I think we will be able to achieve this ourselves.
Nice. So, I mean, what advice do you give for a university or an organization if they want to train their staff? If they don't have a test bed, what advice do you give them? Do you advise them to build their test bed, or go to an established test bed, or if they want to build their test bed, how do they start? I know there are many questions.
Okay. Yes. So I'll try to answer all of them.
Thank you.
For example, if someone someone want to learn for ICS security, I think it is good to read some papers and do a online course, or read about NIST ICS security or other ICS security documents or reports. Then I think try to play with the OpenPLC, because OpenPLC is I think possible to get, if anybody able to get it using a Raspberry Pi, and open source code available online in the GitHub. And using that, you can simulate the physical process, and one can play with the OpenPLC. And if that is fine, and it takes a couple of weeks to do that, after that, I think having a collaboration with any of the existing test beds is a good start. So collaborate and get an access, online access, and collaborate at certain level, and work together with the researchers. For example, our group has a water test bed, manufacturing, building management test bed, and a typhoon, and work with us to realize more. But to begin with, I would suggest like try to read some reports from and some latest research articles, and play with the Raspberry Pi and Open PLC, and play with the simulated environment in your laptop, and then try to talk to the researchers or industry partners who are working with the real test beds, and then collaborate with them to achieve more. Of course, once you collaborate with one or two groups or members, then you will know how to develop your own test bed to conduct your own experiments. So to achieve that, having a collaboration or visit to one place and spend some time, for example, if a PhD student want to do it, and visiting a research attachment or internship in a place where the test bed is available and work with them to learn, I think that is a good place to start.
Okay. So let's go back to Singapore. I think they do offer access online for anybody who book it, right? And ask
Yes.
for training or access remotely. I don't know. Could you?
Yes.
I mean, do you think this could be a solution for an organization if they want to have hands-on training or to borrow or to book with Singapore? I Trust. I think it's called I Trust, right?
Yes, the center name is I Trust, Center for Cybersecurity Research. So I think one need to evaluate themselves by booking online. Are they able to, learn what they want to achieve? So I think, for example, if somebody is familiarized with the system and they are able to book, they can conduct some experiments and get the results straightforward. But if someone not familiarized with the system, and if they are booking for 5 hours, I'm not sure what kind of benefit they are able to get it without having a background on how to handle that particular system, right?
Exactly.
So this is not straightforward. So in that situation, I would say, there are other test beds within the I Trust to get an access with the training kits, small scale test beds, and if there is a possibility, go for an internship there and a research visit there and spend a couple of weeks. I think that is better than having online access. Online access is helpful if someone already know about this particular system and how to deal with it.
Well, of course.
But in order to know that system and in order to learn a particular level of competency, and one need to go there in person and do it. If not, any other place. I'm not only suggesting SUTD and I Trust or Cyber Security Group in Bristol. So we have test beds. If somebody visiting us for internship or research visit, we are happy to host anyone from Kuwait or around, and we will be able to work together. And it is possible to access to water and manufacturing units and other PLC test beds. And the good thing about our group is like we are a diverse group, having number of researchers from different communities and different backgrounds and different research areas, but everybody working within the cybersecurity. Even industrial control system security, we have people looking into forensics, people looking into honeypots, people looking into asset scanning, some of them looking, agri-tech test beds, agri-tech domain, some of them looking into energy sector, others are working in water domain and manufacturing.
Wow.
So, and not only people coming from different backgrounds, different countries or different continents. So we are also working in different areas of research.
Wow, that's
which is ICS security.
That's quite huge number of researchers in ICS at your university. Nice.
Yes. So I'm proud to say that we are one of the leading institution in UK in this domain.
So any PhD students or who want to do PhD in ICS, I would recommend him to go to you then.
Yeah. So we would welcome them to look at our website. We have a PhD program, or even directly.
I wish I did, because I did my PhD in UK, but not at I did it in Liverpool, but in Liverpool they don't have this kind of test bed and this kind of big research like yours.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. So you can imagine, like, by having an access to the real devices, real facilities, and what kind of knowledge a student is able to gain by end of their PhD.
so
And
okay.
not only that, so we are connected to because we are part of the Center of Excellence in Research, Cybersecurity. So
Mhm.
we are connected to the community. So we work with majority of the industrial partners in UK who are interested and who are working in this area.
Nice. Yeah, I would like to visit you one day at Bristol and have a look and maybe have a future cooperation
Yes, yes,
because this is my area and
yes, please.
I'm really passionate about it. Thank you.
Yes, please, and let us know. So we are happy to host you and show
Thank
you
you.
around our lab facilities, and we will be happy to have a conversation with our PhD students and our postdoctoral fellows. And if you are able to spend a couple of days, we have weekly meetings, and daily we have some events as either group level or MSc or the PhD program level. So we will be happy to host you in any of the events or all of the events as
Yeah,
long as you are
I,
available to attend.
it's my honor, my pleasure. I would love to.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
Thank you, Dr. Suleiman.
yeah, that was interesting, Dr. Sridhar. I have many questions, but do you still have time, or we should?
Yeah, I have some more time. 10, 15 minutes. I'm fine.
Sure, sure. Uh, okay, I saw that. I mean, when I was reading the paper that you mentioned that you gave it to me, that they are using something called a project called CNIOT. That I think
Okay.
it's about IoT and integration, the integration of IoT in OT. So I understood that you support IoT in as a part of your test bed, right?
Yes. So we have industrial IoT devices.
Hmm.
For example, so if you consider a flow meter, and it is possible to have a normal flow meter or industrial IoT flow meter. So
Hmm.
where industrial IoT flow meter has a sensor and antenna which can directly communicate to any other sensor or any other network node. Like, for example, if you are using Moksha or any other network nodes, it can directly communicate. So we have number of those devices. As you know, industrial IoT devices are IoT devices, but industrial grade manufacturing.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we have number of those devices within our lab
Mhm.
for students to get access and play around.
Okay. Do you use robots, AI, any of the new technologies as part of your test bed, not just IoT, or it's not still not yet?
I mean, robots. So I
Mm.
mean, we are explicitly not working on the robots, but we have another research lab within the University of Bristol. So
Mm.
they are leading the robotics research
Hmm.
within the computer science and the University of Bristol. So we work closely with them.
Hmm.
So they have number of robots where we have access to we can access, like, robotic operating system, or
Hmm.
we have access to sensors, and we can just play around. And not only robots, actually. So I'm happy to say that last week, so we received a funding as a group to build a drone test bed. So where
Oh.
we are going to get 12 drones.
Mm.
So I assume that some of the drones are bigger than our laptop, and some drones are on the laptop, and some
Mhm.
drones are like a tabletop. It's like your office table. And so we are going to get these drones, and try to see what kind of attacks possible on these drones and how to protect these systems, because there are a lot of military operations or security operations possible through drones,
All right.
and it is important to secure these drones. And last week only we received this funding, and I hope by the if you will be visiting us,
Yeah.
early next year, we will have those drones ready. And now we are able to show you water and other test beds, but in couple of months time we will be able to show you drone test bed where we can fly different drones and try to spoof the signals, the like
Wow.
location of the drone or the sensor of the drone, or we can fight two drones because there are cyber attack of geolocation or sensors.
So you
So this is
introducing
what we are.
so into you introducing drones in OT. That's what you're doing, right?
I mean,
Or
so
it's a separate project?
it's a separate project, so
Okay.
it's not necessary. I would say this is part of the OT,
All
because
right.
we cannot, I think, say this is a OT, but this is a cyber physical system.
Okay, I get
So
it.
where cyber system and physical system are integrated in the drone. So we we have researchers and faculty members who are interested in this area. So
Mhm.
we are building this lab in a couple of months' time.
Nice.
So because you are asking question about, are you working on any new technologies or new domains?
Yeah.
This is I think drones is one of the new area where we need to look deep into security aspects. And of course, many of our researchers are working in AI and adverse learning for anomaly
Mhm.
detection and how to secure this AI while applying
Mhm.
cybersecurity. So yeah, we have a good number of people who are looking this direction as well.
Also, it mentioned that you use also private cloud at the industrial IoT, right? In your lab.
Yes,
You use cloud
yes.
for yeah.
So we have our own servers where we are calling it as a private cloud to store the data which is coming from all the systems we have discussed. So building management system, water, as well as manufacturing unit, and we also have some simulators so we can capture this information and store in the cloud, local cloud. And we also have SDN test bed, software defined network, which is connected to the industrial control system test bed, which is a water test bed essentially. And so we keep all these into our own servers.
All right. And
Yeah.
nice. So, anything you would like to say, Dr. Sridhar, before we call it a day?
Okay. I think it's nice to see you again
Yeah,
after 2 weeks,
same here.
and hope we will meet again in person. Either when you will visit us, or maybe when I visit again Kuwait in couple of months or in a year. And yeah, I think if there is any other opportunities arises, and
So,
we are hoping to work from the university and the cyber security group. We are hosting masters as well as PhD program, so we have a quite diverse group of people coming from all countries, and you can name any country. I think we must have them in our group, right?
do you
So
have a master
I
for
welcome
ICS? Yeah. Do you have a master for ICS
ICS.
specific for ICS, or it's just a
Yes,
cyber?
yes, we have master specific for ICS
What is it
in
called?
MSc in infrastructure security.
Really? So anybody who wants to increase his knowledge in ICS could do your master, uh,
Yes, yes.
apply for this master. Nice.
Yes, yes.
Wow.
This is specifically for ICS security. So where we have three colleagues,
Mhm.
three faculty members who teaches these modules. So I according to my knowledge, so there is no other course in the UK which supports this kind of
I never heard. Yeah.
program.
So is it 1 year?
Yeah.
Is it 1 year?
Yeah, it's a 1 year program. First semester we teach basics in cybersecurity and foundations, And second semester, students learn about industrial control system security as well as industrial Internet of Things security.
Cool.
And after that, in the summer, they have 3 to 4 months time to do a research project
research
within ICS security.
They have to write a thesis. All right.
Yes.
Okay. And do they get hands-on training as well?
Yeah. They have access to all the test beds throughout the year. During every class, they have to do some labs every week. So, when someone working for 14 weeks on different test beds, I think they will be, learning a good amount of ICS security knowledge.
Cool. Because they will solve the problem of, many people have a challenge to join universities, to join companies because they don't have the hands-on experience. So maybe by attending a similar course to yours, like it could fill this gap.
Yes. So that's the main purpose. So we do not want to offer anything where there is no practical value. So we have a program with a practical value, and people are able to employable easily anywhere in the world within the ICS security domain.
Okay. Dr. Sridhar, it was a pleasure. And thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Suleiman. Thank you. It's nice talking to you. Hope to see you soon again.
Yeah, sure. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Nice to see you. Bye-bye then. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.